have a regulation you want, number one, we're not going to approve it because it's already been approved probably in 17 different forms. But if we do, the only way you have a chance is we have to knock out 2 regulations for every new regulation. So if there's a new regulation, they have to knock out 2.
President Trump, keeping up with his fast pace in the White House, signing another executive order to slash regulations. That happened this morning. But what about tax cuts? Here now is Art Laffer, former Reagan economic advisor and Laffer Associates founder and chairman, and founder, of course, of the Laffer Curve, which is all about the effects of tax cuts. Now, regulation cuts are terrific. That can get the economy, or help to get the economy moving, but nothing does it better than tax cuts. Why are we waiting so long on that?
Well, I have no idea why we're waiting so long. We should be at the corporate tax cut right now. But the regulations are, as you say, David, they're wonderful. I mean, they really are wonderful. The real problem we're going to have and are having now is has to do with personal income tax cuts. And I think one of the real big problems on that comes from the House and the House Ways and Means Committee, is they've always got to get a pay for. And they count a tax cut as a revenue loss. So they've got to find another tax increase to offset it, or spending cuts, when in fact we all know that a corporate tax rate reduction, let's say from 35% to 15%, would actually increase revenues dramatically in this type of economy.
The thing is that's why it takes a president to really push these things through. If you leave it up to the folks inside the Capitol, they won't do it because they're going to be dragging their feet on everything has to balance so and so. But that's why Kennedy had to push it through himself. That's why Ronald Reagan had to push it through, really push it through. And so far we haven't seen that. I mean, it's only been a week, granted. Yes. But at the same time, we're hearing stories now that we might have to wait till 2018 before we get a tax cut.
I read those as well. It's very sad on that. But frankly, this is what happened with Harding and Coolidge. It happened with Kennedy. It happened with Reagan. And now, of course, it's happening with Trump. But we will get them. We have a long runway, a political runway. We've got very out-of-date corporate taxes and personal taxes, and we will get them.
But I'm just wondering why we don't learn from past mistakes. Ronald Reagan was a great tax cutter, but it took him 18 months to get the tax cuts really before they kicked in. He made all these deals with Congress. Look at what happened to the GDP. We have the GDP figures from the Reagan era. The first 2 years, 1981, 2.6%. That's actually normal for what we've had over the 8 years. But then 1982, we had a recession, negative 1.9. Every year after that, 83, 4.6%. 1984, 7.3% growth. And then every other year, it was above 3.5% growth. I mean, it's extraordinary. Once the tax cuts kick in, you get this extraordinary spurt of growth.
It's amazing how tax cuts don't work until they take effect, isn't it? And I told the president about the phase-in of the tax cuts and how it would cause a problem. If you want to see, I did a piece on Barron's, the front page, in December of '81, which worried about the delay and how we would have a bear market in those 2 years, '81 and '82. I think I used the phrase barn burner back then. But it's happened with Kennedy. It happened with Harding and Coolidge. And unfortunately, it looks like it's on that path with Trump as well. But the corporate tax cut could do it quickly, David. And, you know, you could pass that probably in 90 days. There's no one in the House or the Senate, I think, the Republicans, who's against the corporate tax rate reduction. And I think you could do that really quick, and that would have a huge immediate stimulative effect. And I think it would pay for itself many times over in a couple of years.
I just don't know why they don't get on it. Maybe the president needs another phone call from Art Laffer. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Art. Good to see you.